Welcome back. We are teeing up for our final game of the day with NME Esports versus Cloud9. And Cloud9 successfully snapped a 4-game losing streak against Team 8, but one win doesn't mean they're just out of the woods right now.
Yeah, the games that they lost involved C9's bottom lane getting shut down, but against Team 8, Meteos was playing around the middle and the bottom lane, and it seemed like the winning formula for them. It got Sneaky rolling, and he cleaned up fights as Jinx. He was 10-1-7 on that champion, showing up to the late game fights, having enough crit to clean up. And also a big part of this was Incarnation helped them engage as Varus.
Yeah.
So he was kind of filling a little bit of a role that High was before. First in the fight, start the fights, poke people out, and continue the fights. I absolutely loved what they did last week, and if Cloud9 want to get their groove back, it's this formula that they need to kind of hone more and more.
And that play kind of allowed him to fill that void of aggression where he's been looking at his play, but not get him too aggressive into the wrong spot. On the other side of the rift, NME Esports are still something of an unknown, you could say. They've had a good game against some of the top teams, or good games, you could say, but then looked shaky against TDK and lost to Team 8.
Yeah, last week, NME shored up a weakness, which was their champion select in their pick ban phase. They stalled the game out with Xerath's wave clear, a good adaptation as that last pick for Inox, but there have been breakout performances from some of their players, like Otter. His Vayne, both times we've seen it, has been an absolute joy to watch. Even though he's 1-1 on that champion, his kill share, his KDA, and the way he's rolling around fights is just a whole lot of fun to watch. But ultimately, on NME, it always seems to come back to their mid laner, Inox. He's been the most consistent player on the squad. He has the most experience on the squad, and he's been leading them from the mid lane. And he plays so many different things. I think we've seen him on how many different champions now? It's been 4 or 5 different champions.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it's 4 or 5 different champions at this point. He's only played the Kassadin twice, and that's the only double up that he's had. So his versatility is something that they've been leveraging from the mid lane as well.
It's got to feel good, especially that he has a smile on his face all the time. That's the guy you can rest on. You know it's not putting any more pressure on him, that you want him to be the leader, that you want him to be the voice. And Body Drop admits that NME lost some of their team cohesion and are working hard to recapture their Challenger Series mojo.
Our team is taking its time building up our communication, getting back on track basically from when we were in Challenger Series. We had a 1.5 to 2 month break, and we really dropped a lot more than we expected. Luckily, we showed up for the Gravity game. We took it slow in the TSM game, and we're kind of getting back to our feet right now. We're getting used to scrimming with LCS teams and the higher caliber, and we're noticing things and trying to fix them, but it is taking its time.
Yeah, and it's good to hear him say that, because NME did look like a different beast in Challenger, and there were some reservations of, is it the fact that they're getting into LCS and they can't compete, or has the team actually taken a step back? And it looks like a little bit of both at the moment, but this game, both teams are 2-4. They have something to prove here. C9 needs to prove that this roster's coming together, and NME needs to prove that they are a team that wasn't just dominating Challenger, but they can actually compete in the LCS as well.
We'll get a chance to in just a few minutes. Let's check out the teams with a quick roster rundown. On the blue side, it is NME Esports. Flares in the top lane, Trashy in the jungle, Inox in mid, Otter at AD carry, and Body Drop at support.
And on the red side, it's Cloud9. Balls in the top lane, Meteos in the jungle, Incarnation in mid, Sneaky on AD carry, and Lemonation on support.
And, you know, continuing to talk about that, it kind of leads into muscle memory. You stop doing something at a professional level for a while, and it's not going to be as honed as it was before. Even to the fact where you hear players coming in, players that are at the top of the solo queue ladder, the players that are making all the moves and all the plays, and then they come into a game and they're like, this lane swap thing has me all mixed up. I've never done it before. It's because you don't have that muscle memory. Once you lose that or don't have it, things can go real bad.
A big thing of it is communication as well.
Yeah,
because when people think about shot callers, you're like, shot calling, it's weird, but there are personality traits that make you a better shot caller.
For sure.
If you are a reserved
confidence
person,
in your voice.
Exactly. Speaking
little
up,
things.
tiny things like that. If that's a conscious effort that you're like, okay, I have to go ahead and turn on the mode where I'm playing the game, I'm putting info out there, I'm feeding people information so that I don't make mistakes and that everybody has the knowledge that they need. It's not like flipping a switch. You have to warm up for these things. You have to be able to do all of that and perform it with hundreds of people watching you in person as well.
Funnily enough, as a shoutcaster, during like 7-8 years of playing Counter-Strike, I was a terrible shot caller, even though I try, knowing a lot about the game. It is not as easy as just playing. There's so many more things you have to think about, and give a lot of credit to these guys for doing it also with as many variables as there are in League of Legends.
Yeah, and you have a lot of your own play to take care of at the same time. Meteos is adjusting to the shot calling role, and you can see in his play, he might not be as aggressive. He might not be around the map as much as he was before. And then the fact that they lost their most vocal player with High, Incarnation, is he filling that void? But we'll have to see how they play this game. Flares gets his Rumble again in the top lane.
Very big pickup.
I love this because Flare's, #1 in solo queue ladder in North America.
Absolutely.
He's got aggressive champion across the board, whether it's his Hecarim, he plays things like Riven as well. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays Echo now in the top lane, but the Rumble, for him is another champion that he's very potent on. It's one of his top most played champions, and he's delivered on it before, but the problem is how is this going to revolve around NME as a team? Because they kind of fell a little bit to the wayside with their team coordination, their team fighting.
It's true.
Is this the game where they pick it back up?
It's true, but as Cloud9 get with the bans they've had, kind of looking at 3 top lane bans that flex on the Echo, he knows how to play against Rumble. He is an undefeated Rumble. So is it okay to give that over to Flares? Like you said, Flares obviously very formidable player on that as well. So we'll see how they decide to switch things over. Cloud9, that is a lock-in of the Nidalee and Sivir right away. Very interesting.
This is Meteos' first Nidalee game of the split, and this is his first hyper-aggressive jungler. He's been playing things like Rek'Sai, Gragas, Nunu, Sejuani, but the Nidalee really falls into the I need to kill people role as opposed to I need to defend people and harass them and slow them. This is a champion that Meteos is looking to carry on, farm very quickly with his jungle. So if Meteos is looking to turn around his shot calling and keep his individual play on par, he needs to just step into this role, see if he can actually put his carry pants back on. Do they still fit?
Maybe that's the missing link. Maybe that will make the calls really count for Cloud9. Once they have that bit of an advantage that they can lead and Meteos knows he has, they'll get back to that sense where they said, even if we were behind with High, it didn't feel like it. That's really what they're trying to achieve, because then you can pretty much come from behind on anything. Over the side of NME Esports now, the Sejuani quickly picked up. Rek'Sai is still available, but it looks like he is actually going to pick that up along with the CC, more crowd control from Nanny.
Yeah, it looks like it's just team fight across the board here. Hide whatever you're going to take in your AD carry. Make sure that you have a priority support. You're going to just lock up and hide your mid laner for a little bit longer. But this is all team fight here from NME. This is all start fights, team fight, crush C9, have access, have ways to get to Nidalee. Flash Tibbers, if you can blow up Meteos, get some CC on him. This is a winning formula for NME. If you picked Rek'Sai, it's very kiteable.
Looks like they may be giving the chance for Meteos to kind of go hard and carry here. A little bit of safety in the team and assurance that they can take some of those late game fights if they do get hit on. Right now, they kind of just want to whittle away at the HP bars of NME from as far away as they can. But they're panning out. Their picks are quick. They are locking in immediately.
Yeah, I want to see what Cloud9 does to round this out. It could be a Varus mid and they go full poke with an AP and an AD threat. It could be an AP cog if they're going to go with another poke champion. But Incarnation, he hasn't actually shown us too many champions. He's gone with the Azir, the Victor Kog'Maw, and the Varus. So all these champions fill the long range void. Except for Victor, he's got that mid-range. But Cloud9 right now, this composition is really going to round out with what they pick. Is it poke? Is it engage? He just swapped over to cleanse. So he's looking for possibly an Azir in this comp.
Do we see a Jace get popped in here? Definitely available. Not considered enough a change to the kit to really lock him out of the LCS. So Jace will get picked up here. Saw it a few times in the EU LCS. Soren, one of those plays. Wasn't actually able to find any wins on it, though. See what happens here. Inox could be taking that in his hands as we see the Rumble top.
Yep, once again, another poke champion here for Inox.
Yeah.
AD threat in the mid lane, AP threat in the top lane, and then they have Otter on Jinx for the late game carry. So there's a lot of scaling here, a lot of team fight, but the soften up here is going to be Inox. He preps the fights before they engage.
Cloud9, all of the team discussing this right now. And Charlie making sure that's exactly what they want to round out. What are you sitting on practice? They do pick this year. Good calls, Irene. So locking that one down, they have a bit of safety for themselves where Incarnation can stay on that back line. We would usually see his Azir, though, kind of walking out of the fights with full HP and not really delivering too much damage. Not enough soldiers up when the fight's going to engage and prepped to be moved forward. So we'll see if he's kind of fixed up those.
Yeah, it's a way to keep people away from you. If this is an engaged composition, throw out the Emperor's Divide, speed yourself up with the Sivir ultimate, and skitter around while Balls keeps people locked down. You're throwing spears, you're throwing soldiers into the fight. Enemy has to get through the front line, power through Balls, power through the Maokai with the damage reduction, and get to that back line, or catch the back line out to start these fights.
It's going to be a very interesting matchup, something everybody can keep their eye on coming into this game. Sneaky, the AD carry of Cloud9, is 5 kills away from 500 this game. It could be something that he reaches now in his LCS career. So we'll be keeping an eye on that in game as enemy coach Brad and C9 Charlie make their way to the back of the stage. So maybe Sneaky's not going to be fighting for this one. Maybe he doesn't even know, but he could be hitting a nice little pivotal point in his career. Time for some Twitter action. You all know the drill. Send hashtag NME win or hashtag C9 win to @LOL Esports. You vote it, we count it, we'll put it on the screen so you can be heard. Vote for your favorite team. They are looking for you to root for them here, especially Enemy, making themselves a name in the LCS. 2-4, same thing as Cloud9 here as we enter the summer split, and we are on to the Rift.
Yep, speaking of summer split, this is the halfway point. After today, split's half over.
Yeah, it's true. It's going to get pretty
getting very
tense.
close. Oh, next week.
Woo! I was like, wait a minute.
Save me.
We're
Thank
4,
you. Thank
5, when we went first
I
day
don't
of
know why, but I always think
next
we're like
week.
further along. Yeah.
This has gone fast, dude. We're already in June right now of the year. Absolutely crazy. The mid-season invitational seems like it kind of pulled everything, and it was like, oh, it's the end of the season. No, that's just the middle. That's just the middle. There's way more action.
There's also doing Challenger too, so I've had more weeks. Anyway, Sneaky stats, you can see just the fact he's doing more damage. He's involved in all these fights, and his KDA on Sivir really high. I actually want to see how many games that over. That looks like it's over just one game. That's not impressive. Play another game. Here we go.
This is going to be it. He'll maybe hurt or help the KDA on this one. Early wards going out as they usually would. Numerous early wards. Also getting the gate ward too to make sure Cloud9 gets the exact matchup they want here in the beginning. And pings will go out to figure each of them out as well. See what Otter can pull out in this game. He has actually been a pretty big factor from the AD carry position for Enemy in games. His Vayne, as you were saying, pretty awesome to watch. See what he can do here on the Jinx, who has a little less safety to her kit.
Yeah, the thing that I've been looking for Otter and seeing if it's a marked improvement over time is his positioning in the fights, because he's really reliant on a frontliner, and Trashy is the only frontliner they have in this team squad. Maybe body drop eventually, but it's an Annie. He's always going to be squishy. He'll be on the front line. He'll be dying on the front line very quickly. But Otter doesn't have a whole lot of peel, so they rely on multiple threats to have Enemy operate in the way that they like to. So now, right now though, C9 is actually in Enemy's jungle, and it is a lane swap. C9 are making this a lane swap. They're taking the Grump, they're taking the entire side of this jungle right now. And there isn't a whole lot of information actually going over to Enemy. What is their response to this? They do have flares starting up jungle camps though.
Well, at this point, Enemy's saying, all right, nobody's in lanes. They're doing something funky in the top side of the jungle. So do they just decide to go figure out that they have nothing?
Gotta watch out for if Thresh
somewhere
comes
else
around though onto the Jace. How does...
Well, it looks like they're actually going to stick that as well. Everybody's going to try it.
How do they get in here? Balls hasn't leveled up an ability just yet for the level 2. Just sitting on the sapling, so making sure that his Twisted Advance would be available if they were going to go for the dive.
Still a bit hard to get a gank off on Chase. It would have been good with a Thresh, but you got 4 abilities right there at level 2. So still get out and hammer some people away if he wants to. So Cloud9 back to their own jungle, still sharing a bit there, or getting some assistance from Lemonation, at least on the damage as he makes his way across. But he is completely sticking with the team right now. Interesting style there to give solo XP here to Sneaky in the top lane. He gets a freeze on it, it seems. Oh, actually, no freeze. He didn't get there in time.
Both
right.
lanes are...
So it's slowly.
Both lanes are actually slow pushing towards the bottom. It looks like it's going to be 4-man from Enemy to the bottom lane. And then in the top lane, they're going to try to emulate the same thing. Enemy's already on this turret, though, and they have a Jinx. So we'll have to see. They've already gotten up to it, and they're going to do some damage to it already.
Sneaky missing that one CS. That makes him start to fall behind. Won't be a problem here. But like you said, each team trying to mirror each other right now. Maybe it's going to be 4 top, 4 bottom. We may see this going down.
Oh, no, they're actually wrapping around middle. They're not actually going to come to that bottom lane for the jungler here. Looks like they want to pick on Incarnation a little bit.
That's one way. You kind of get set in your ways and you think everybody's doing one thing. That one path mine could get you into a lot of trouble. And right now he figures there's going to be 4 on the bot side of the map. He does hover towards the top side. Not a lot of mana onto Inox. It could be the flash coming in. Ooh. Trashy not able to equal it. Trashy actually flashed there as well. So that's a loss for him.
Trying to close that distance.
Right.
You can see the turret status though. Top lane turret, very close. They're just trying to bounce this wave. Bottom lane turret at the same time. It's still got about a 5th on it, a 6th on it. And they have to clear one more wave, and this is actually a cannon minion wave too. So down bottom a little bit more. They have to rush this down as fast as possible. And since it's a cannon minion wave, it's got more HP in it. It's got more HP, and the fact that the turret's going to have to get more hits off, I don't know if they're going to be able to bounce this wave effectively.
Right. So NME now reacting off of a not failed gank in the mid lane. I'll just say it was failed actually. Flashes were blown. But it did happen as well on Incarnation's side, so they could rinse and repeat. But using that small advantage to get the dragon, bottom turret as well. They do give themselves a bit of a lead here, statistic-wise, but the gold's going to look the same.
But they didn't bounce the bottom wave. There's a cannon in it, so it's going to continue to push forward.
That's a good point.
C9 side. C9 successfully bounced the top wave, throws balls up there. They get the dragon on NME's side. But I want to see what happens with this freeze, because they're actively freezing this and trying to make it push further down the lane.
Sneak is going to be able to pick up good CS here, hanging out for a while. Tier already stacking on Inox in the mid lane. Nice little hook onto body drop to be a nuisance from the side elimination there. Slow moving. Looks like all the members of NME felt it was a good time to back after that dragon. So back out into the lanes. We'll see how much pressure Trashy can put back onto the map here as Meteos has kind of been all over the place already. No wards for either team just yet, so not a lot of knowledge here as they exit the base.
You see they're actually swapping the lanes back.
Yeah.
Putting Otter on the opposite side again. Flares, he's been running around the map on this Rumble with 4 CS, 3 CS until he picked up that little wolf, but he does not have a lot of gold going his way at all.
Good thing
least gold in the
works.
game on this top lane Rumble.
Still light equalizer on fire as long as you have that ultimate, but getting there could be a problem right now. He's still walking around. Him and Trashy are going to be sharing whatever experience they go through if possible, but really trying to hit Cloud9 in the kills area rather than denying them things.
Yeah, they're trying to hit him in that area, but Cloud9 are really just, they're farming better at this point. They're having better waves, and you can see Balls, 20 CS up. He's 400, 500 gold above Flares. And then if you flip it over to the jungle matchup, the jungle matchup is actually 300 gold ahead in Meteos' favor. So that's where this gold advantage is coming from, is Meteos' farm and Balls farming as well. Otherwise, it's pretty even across the board, supports AD carries and mids. It's just down to the Nidalee farming really important camps very quickly, like Scuttler and like Romp. And the fact that Trashy's picking up some scraps. And Flares basically has nothing at this point. That's pretty much ambient gold, turret gold. But look at this.
Whoa! Shurima slides right in. Incarnation with the Emperor's Divide. Whew. And he's forced to go back out. Not a lot of mana in your pool there for the entry. Was hoping Meteos could come with a finalizing kill. And they actually draw a teleport aggro. It wasn't a full teleport, but that is going to be down for Flares.
Yeah, the fact they got the TP is the biggest part of that play with the Ignite. Right. They didn't even get a flash from Inox there, but Incarnation going for a play, and Inox kind of just slipped through the guards. He paid them off.
Yeah, that was very nicely done by him. He's getting 2v1'd, but he gets out successfully. Pressure over towards the side of enemies red. Doesn't look like they'll be able to actually do anything with this here. Cloud9, Meteos, really aggressive on this Nidalee, getting into places where he shouldn't be. And that's what old Meteos used to do. Making the right decisions, but only when he thought they would work. I always saw him going in for ganks previously in games. Looks like his calls are kind of back where he wants it.
Yeah, farming, getting a lot of CS for himself, so he's very powerful. Whenever his teammates talk about him, it's always Meteos comes out of the jungle with the most effective gank.
Right.
Otherwise, he's not going to go for it. And right now, like you said, he's farming up. He's going to be this monster of a Nidalee and a huge AP threat on this team.
Hopefully you can get back to that point for them. We hear CLG say the same thing about Pobelter. You just know this guy is going to be able to show up to a fight and do something. And that was really what Meteos provided for the team, being able to start and usually finish the entire thing. along with the rest of the team. 8.5 in here. That first dragon over to NME with the aggression that we saw Cloud9 showing up in the top lane for a little bit. No kills yet on the board, just yet. His flashes have had to be blown for these ganks to come in. No kills.
BF sword purchased already for Sneaky. Otter a little bit behind in that regard, but he's freezing this wave, making sure that he's able to pick it up very slowly. But you could see Sneaky and Lemon are both in this top lane. A little unusual. I think they would. I would have thought that since they got BF, they would go middle and try to force it. But instead, they're worried about the wave clear. They're looking more for a pick here. I don't know how much they're actually going to get accomplished in this lane. Had to see what happens to Otter. Burn!
Putting on the afterburners.
Yeah.
He's happy he got Boots. That probably actually helped him there pretty good for that play distance that he almost got hit up on. But Boots' pickaxe seems to be a better buy against a rushing Sivir coming at your face.
Flash for flash there between support and AD carry. Otter, now he can't freeze the wave. They broke the freeze, but he still needs to back for a BF sword before anything happens, because if he shows up to the same fight as Sneaky, he has way less damage output at this point in the game.
All right, so we got 1:20 on Dragon. Still want to see what happens. Oh, Flares isn't even 6 yet.
Nope.
That is pretty painful.
Still sitting on 1,000.
I was going to say, what happens when you get the Wablam damage that can come in from a shock blast, from the missile, from an Annie, from an equalizer?
The LeBlam?
Wablam.
Oh.
Wablam damage.
I thought it was the LeBlam.
No.
I thought you went a
It's a
little
W.
there.
It's a W. 1 minute, we could see that damage coming through. But right now, without a level 6 Rumble, this is going to be very hard. He also blew his flash. Doesn't have even the Haunting Geyser Sword Boots yet. So they may have to actually just give up.
Yeah, they don't really have
the second dragon.
They don't really have the combo here yet either. Trashy just hit 6. Flares very close to it. And Otter still hasn't backed for his BF sword. He's sitting on 2,100 gold. It looks like by the time he backs, he'll be able to actually purchase something else on top of it.
Yeah. Something that was interesting to me in Body Drop's video was that he said they still haven't really found what they lost in the Challenger Series. We're 4 weeks in now, and there's been a lot of time every week to find that. Yeah, you only get to practice it at the highest level when you're on stage. People kind of are relaxed in scrims, but something of that aspect has to be found by now. It's almost too late.
It's a comfort, too, and when switching from Challenger to LCS and you feel like you lost something, one point it may be you're not used to not dominating because now you're playing LCS teams. You're literally playing 10 of the best team or 9 of the other best teams in the region. So if you come in expecting to just dominate it, it's a little high expectation there. We haven't seen anything close to that since Cloud9. A little bit of Origen over in Europe.
Yeah, very true.
UOL as well.
And we can see what happens to teams in general. Cloud9 now tied at 2-4 with NME. You lose your way a little bit, and it's very hard to find that path again, especially when it's something like your shot caller, or actually taking a very long break we see is affecting NME here throughout the Challenger to LCS season. Hopefully things that can be patched up for a few wins that keeps them out of the no-no zone towards the end of the season, because only one team gets that spot. And we don't want to be that team. Flash in from Body Drop, very, very quiet, or no, it's almost too quiet. That's going to be Lemon Nation going down. One less hit on Sneaky. Oh, he has the spell shield up. That only stays up for a few seconds, rather. Very, very nicely done. And we are going to get a quick pause. Like, did that hit a spell shield? I want to know.
It's a bug. It should have killed him. But yeah,
like when Lemon Nation got bopped, he actually could do too much possibly. We'll get that for you shortly.
But that was the combo right there. Flash, Tibbers, Annie stun onto an immediate start cooking them with the Rumble ultimate into a Sejuani Glacial Prison. Really, really good combo there to take out Lemon Nation, get Sneaky extremely low, get his summoner spells out as well. So Lemon Nation basically saying, I couldn't move there. I felt like I was perma-stunned. He was perma-stunned.
Yeah, his screen froze, they said. So looks like it might be a quick.
Oh, his screen froze.
Yeah. So it wasn't a. It was a big stun.
He was stunned the entire time.
It was a life stun. That's how hard Body Drop hit him. We'll see as we get back into this game. It shouldn't have affected too much throughout it, but strong play there from NME. It's exactly what they need to start doing the instant. And that, like I said, it was almost too quiet. People are just farming right in front of each other. And once you see the whites of their eyes, that's exactly when Body Drop went in. So they definitely know how to utilize the Annie play. A great block by Sneaky on that spell shield. Like I said, 1.5 seconds is how long that stays up. You don't have very much time to calculate something flying at you like that, but hit it at the right time.
I don't know how much that actually would have changed the outcome of the play. Looking back at it, Lemon comes out of the bush to flay.
Oh, yeah, he got bopped.
Yeah, he comes out of the bush to flay, gets stunned again. And he doesn't even have flash up at the same time, so he's on Rumble ulti the entire time.
Yeah, stunned, and then Sejuani ultimate coming in after body drops. Like we said, where's the Wablam damage? It's right there. And it actually froze his screen. Strong enough. So, first kill coming out, however, goes over to Flares. You see 2 assists there to the bottom lane of Enemy, and that is going to help just a little bit with how even everything has been throughout this game. Meteos and Balls, as we said, kind of controlling their lanes, and what's happened with the swaps is the bit of a gold lead that you're seeing here along with Cloud9, but not too much. Definitely still anybody's game. Got to see if Flares can use this money now to start being Rumble. He only has recipe items still.
Yeah.
We're pretty far into the game.
Yeah, picking up that kill and contributing. He's still half the CS of Balls, a little bit under that, but he's at a point where he's only 300 gold behind. So picking up another kill and netting him that will help him close that distance. But the big gold disparity is actually just the jungle still. It's that 500 gold difference between them, between the Sejuani and the Nidalee. Meteos already has the completed Magus enchant, and he's got Ruby Crystal in his inventory, so he's ready to start going towards that Rod of Ages.
Interesting. Haven't seen it too much. Looking at Enemy as well, we were just talking about Flares, but the stack for Inox coming in, 242 of 750. Charging up rather at a regular rate, but hopefully that burst is something they can use at the same time. Obviously, Rumble might turn on a little late now, but that is a huge power curve they're hoping to hit and take Cloud9 by surprise.
Yeah, luckily for Rumble, like you were saying before, very cheap items to turn online.
It'll get there.
I got Sork shoes. I got my hunting guys. I'm ready to go because I have so much penetration. It's like,
who wants the barbecue?
Right, exactly. You throw down your ultimate. If it hits the AD carry, they're never going to buy MR anyway.
Yeah.
Your damage, just the base damages of it are so high. And then on top of that, it's really kind of extra stuff. You're like, I want that Rezonia's Hourglass to make these plays. Boss is saying, I want that Void Staff from before, just to melt through tanks as well. So when Rumble hits those 2 item spikes, which is boots and basically a very cheap item, so he's able to actually affect these fights more and more. And you saw he was able to affect that one with pretty much just components.
Absolutely. Also, looking at something that was necessary for them to do. 64 to 31 was the disparity between those 2 top laners. So that 1 kill definitely helps him throw a little bit of gold into his pockets to get back in this game. Hasn't been back to buy yet throughout the pause. So we're looking at current items of the fight. That gold is still sitting on him. So we'll see what Enemy really gets out of this. Also, they win that fight, so they will have more pressure of the map, and a lot can play out just from this fight here that we're paused on.
Right after the pause, though, it's a little scary because Inox had been engaged on by Incarnation. They both have flashes. They're both in River, and Inox is about half HP. So
that looks intense.
Incarnation just went in on him. He's like, "Why are you pausing? I got this guy. I got this sucker. let me at him." But
that's going to be the literal fight as the clock goes up.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1,
and punch. Start punching. Make it happen.
But Meteos as well and Balls. Balls is actually flanking on the side. He used his TP to try and get into these fights.
Yeah.
So right now, it's just a whole lot of anticipation in the game of when we get back into it, who's going to leap in, who's going to actually continue the aggression. Because it's so hard to pick up where you just left off in a high moment.
Right.
Do you just reset? Do you immediately just not miss any steps and you go? It's very difficult to do that.
Right.
What was I doing? Oh yeah, I wanted to get vision here. Oh yeah, I wanted to hit this key. But also in the middle of a fight, you basically froze time and you give the opponent so much time to think about their next move
without talking
and go through. Well, yeah, you get to think about your next move and you think, okay, I dodge up, I dodge down. What happens if he flashes me? Am I prepped for this? Your anticipation, your reaction time goes up, but we are going to get back into the game right now.
Absolutely. We are hopping back in. It was determined that while Lemon's screen did freeze, it was during the 3.5 or more seconds of crowd control he was under. Yep. There would have been no movement he could have done, and the play will go on, and it will stick.
Yeah, it did not affect the way that he played in that fight.
Absolutely.
Completely locked up, slowed. He had already done all the actions he was going to at the start. Incarnation, though, he was the one at full HP at the pause. Inox was at half and immediately turned around there. Inox went through his options.
Yeah.
Knew his spells were down. It's time to go.
That's the thing. Jay still puts out a scary amount of damage with being able to change forms, and that first hit always smarts a little bit more. Still low on mana here, relying on that tier to keep him A little bit aggressive in the mid lane. They are going to start backing off. A whole hail of pink wards right down the river here.
Yeah, in the top lane, in the top side of the map for C9. A little bit strange there because you want to have presence around Dragon. You want to have presence around that area, but it seems like they're just trying to keep balls safe, and the stop back there. It's funny too, because that Shock Blast really hurt, but it's still only the rank 5, which is still weaker than previous rank 5 Shock Blast. Yeah. So as soon as he hits that rank 6 and he gets those accelerated, it's just a whole lot more base damage on that ability.
Be interesting to see how they use it, how much Cloud9 can avoid getting poked at their turrets when they make their way up to it. He said he was about 270, got 30 more stacks on his tier out of that bit of laning, and now Inox well back. 110 to 120 in that lane. Should stay pretty even. Those guys both needing to use a bit of their mana here to farm it out. Incarnation coming back to lane. Morel and Namicon first for him as the team looks to push down the mid lane, open up this Christmas present, and figure out what they can find inside here once they start getting some deeper wards in.
Yeah, everybody here from C9. Everybody here from C9, and no wave clear present from NME. Jinx in the top lane. And Inox, mild wave clear of Jace. Poke Machine not present either. Yeah, Otter's AFK farming. AFK pushing top, doing his thing. Trying to get to those power points, trying to get to the IE as fast as possible. Yeah. Him and Sneaky are pretty much neck and neck in gold. He can complete the Infinity Edge right now and get that bonus. Whereas Sneaky, not quite there yet.
Yeah.
A little bit shy of completing it because he went for the Zerg Greaves.
I was just going to say, interesting by both. 180 carries trying to rush the Infinity Edge, but got boots early to actually avoid situations like he almost got ganked in the top lane. And you see Sneaky saying, gotta go fast. Just give me that boot upgrade with some attack speed, baby. Interesting choices by them. As Incarnation picks up as blue, we're not going to have any trickery, Cloud9 stealing away or enemy stealing blues just yet, so we should get a lot of pain onto Incarnation here. I feel like that's going to favor Inox from just being able to blast and stack that tier in the mid lane. We will see, though.
Looking for an engage in the top lane. Meanwhile, Sneaky in the bottom, trying to shove those waves out in his team's favor before he tries to make a move on the map.
It'll be about the mid lane.
Got to watch for the engages, though. Body drop, no flash this time. Does have Tibbers. And Incarnation just shoves mid before coming up here. The wave control from C9 before showing up to the fight.
Right.
Much heavier, but if they get caught out before the fight even starts, they may lose the turret.
Ooh. Meteo's hoping to be able to throw some poke back, but they're standing right in the front of those spears. They're not really going to rank up to too much without the distance, so very, very painful for them to lose another turret and not really be able to act on it. We did have, like you said, that push from Cloud9 in mid, so Inox was denied a bit there, and hopefully Sneaky can now work off this with the team and get a little bit more. It doesn't look like he'll have too much time here, though.
If they walk back quickly, they're going to lose waves to the mid lane turret and the bot lane turret if they don't actually send the right people to the right places at the right time. There we go. We get some onto Inox there, not missing too much, so it's always good to keep track of those waves, especially this bot lane wave, too, that's going to go over to Otter. Because if you start missing that CS for that turret, it ends up being almost like a net loss because you ended up going even in turrets to Cloud9, but they were able to get those turrets without much sacrifice.
Well, 3-3 right now. You can already see pretty prepped on this bottom side here. A dragon fight in Cloud9's favor could easily mean that second tier turret going down. Already getting pings on the top side. It's like they want to try and get it pushed just a little bit more so they can start to move forward. Teleport coming up for balls. He'll communicate to the team that he will have that soon, and he'll be able to beat out flares on this one. I wonder if they have that timing, because it would be huge, especially with that ultimate going down 40 seconds before dragon. Doesn't look like they really want to tango here. If they do, interesting.
Using it to wave clear. Excuse me, whoa.
Where'd you go?
What just happened to me? All right.
Sounded like you were in the kitchen.
I know, using it to wave clear. I was like, bye, Riv.
Getting real emotional.
Anyway, just choked me up there with the flame spitter. But yeah, the wave clear that he's using that for is because Meteos was on that side of the map at the same time, and he was like, I might get dove here. Make sure that that doesn't happen because I need to be alive. He has his Sork shoes, he has his haunting guys, and he's ready to show up to these team fights with his teleport.
Boom. He has become Rumble 15 minutes in. Not a problem. Can still be used. Looks like we're going to get a quick lockdown on the game right quick as we head back towards the dragon area, and we'll see what this one pans out to be as well. Looks like they back to Lemon, so we may get a restart on his PC here to make sure this does not happen again. Good thing we caught it outside of a fight where it still cannot affect any part of the gameplay. So looking at the scoreboard, still a slight gold lead coming in for Cloud9, pressuring things very slowly in this game, knowing the enemy could really come back with, again, another one of those flash ultis to poke. Something that could really take them down. Cloud9 may not have the kills, but they do have the map control.
Yeah, the map control is going to be extremely important, especially when this team that NME has drafted is all about fighting and softening you up before the fights. This is just a lot of engage that they always have to be conscious of. So if you lose that map control, if you lose the vision, you have a Sejuani coming from Fog of War and ulting like what just happened to get that one kill to enemy.
Right.
So Cloud9 cannot let up the pressure with the Nidalee, and especially since it's not a double sight stone team, that they have to be on top of their vision control and press it while they have it.
So we are actually going to get a swap on Lemon's PC. It has been confirmed, so this issue does not reoccur once again. Something seems to happen.
I love how it's like there's something wrong with it. Just swap out computers. That'll fix it.
Boom.
It's no longer the have you tried turning it off and then back on again. It's
Never.
just swap it out. That computer's broken.
We've evolved. It's the better of the choices, making sure that Lemon gets the game he needs with the rest of the team. And we'll be continuing this in just a few minutes. The first fight for NME to come back in this one was a very big engage in the bot lane. Just kind of recap things lightly. That only offered one kill to them, but may have set Cloud9 back a bit. Like we said, Cloud9 controls the map, NME with the kills. We still have a lot more game to go, and while we work out the issues on stage, we are going to send it over to the guys on the analyst desk.
Thank you, gentlemen. And as he mentioned, hopefully we'll get those technical issues sorted out quickly, but since we have the time, I do want to actually look ahead in this matchup, since both Irene and Riv have done a fairly good job of recapping everything that has happened up to this point. So when we look at the compositions and the gold as it stands, we see the majority of the differential laying on that Maokai as of right now. But with these teams, where do we expect them to go as the game plays out?
Yeah, so the thing here is this composition for NME is basically the exact same composition that Team Liquid used, switch out the AD carry.
Super similar.
So it relies a lot, as we talked about in the previous game, on stacking that combo of the AoE stuns, get the Rumble ultimate right on over it. The big difference here is that Cloud9 do not have Alistar. They do not have one of the biggest tools that TSM had in that game, the combo breaker, to try and soak up some of the initiation. So it's going to be a lot more difficult when they get to that team fight. They really want to be able to use Azir's zone control to get some Nidalee spears to land for them to have a chance.
A lot of that will have to fall on Maokai to kind of just be the big tank in front to block all the skill shots. We were talking a little bit during the game just about Jace and his appearance here versus a Varus, because obviously Varus can shoot through things for diminished damage, but Jace, it just explodes right away, which kind of puts even more emphasis on Balls' Maokai, which has a lead, to get really huge this game, because if he's not a big threat, it's 4 squishy targets right behind him that are really at the mercy of the skill shot power and projectiles of NME.
Right, and we're very curious to see which way he goes, because right now he doesn't have any armor. So it will even be hard for him to soak up too many of those shock blasts. The thing about Jace is that he's got the really high impact Qs that are coming in, so the accuracy is also even more important. And Varus gets to fire off a lot of arrows.
We'll look to see how the itemization develops there for Balls in the top lane. The other interesting aspect of this is that there is the Azir on Cloud9's side, which is, the primary damage dealer from this team comp, which is what Bjergsen was playing in that game. And we saw evidence of both things happening. One, a fight where he gets entirely locked down and is not allowed to do damage up by that Baron Pit. And then one where he wasn't able to be zeroed out super quickly, had the Zhonya's, and was able to roll through the rest of the team. So when we talk about positioning for Cloud9 and the itemization there and protecting the Zero, I think that's going to be pretty much, the crux of success in this game.
Yeah, pretty sure he has cleanse as well. So it's not as easy to lock him down, and they could also add a Mikhail's on there if they decide to do it with Thresh. They still have choices to make with their itemization. So they're not to as much risk from the Wombo on the individual target, but because they have a Nidalee, high damage jungler, no tankiness, Sivir, 1 spell shield to try and block that, otherwise you're kind of messed over. It's a more just try not to clump for Cloud9. The enemy wants to force the clumped engagements.
Yeah, I'd have to say especially Meteos has to stay far away from Azir. Nidalee, yes, it's a strong jungler in the early game, has a lot of control over the lanes, over pressuring the enemy jungler. But if one of those CCs lands on him, he does not have cleanse. He has no way to get out of it. And the Mikhail's, if the Mikhail's comes, it's going to be late because both of these supports have opted for the coin route for their gold generation item. So they're going to have speed boosts for both teams. Both teams are going to be moving out really quick on that low cooldown, really big boost of speed, and it's going to come down to split seconds, and the back line here has to stay very, very safe for Cloud9.
And that's where I'd have to say, the concern is that in the past we've watched C9 struggle in team fights with positioning and protecting the Azir. We watched in that Team Impulse game that tragic fight around the Dragon where they weren't entirely set up for it, and we watched Incarnation get killed without even setting up any soldiers. So we'll look to see how that develops. I just got word that everything is all figured out, so we are going to head back into the game. Let's send it over to our casters for the call.
Don't worry, we got you guys. Thank you very much, Dash. We are about to head back into game. Thank you guys for taking the reins for a few minutes there as we got everything organized and set up. Lemonation back on a new PC, and we are going to be back onto the Rift. Ladies and gentlemen, apologize for the wait, and we're back to the action. 17:40 is where we're at in the game here. A little bit of a dragon on the plate, Zyrene, and it looks like both teams are quite hungry.
Yeah, and that Shock Blast is going to hurt a lot. It is at that
looks
point
like it.
where it's a 320 base damage spell.
Crowd is feeling.
Plus about 100 more damage from his just his items. And that's before Acceleration Gate with the 40% increased damage. He's doing a lot of damage with that when it lands. The Shock Blasts have to count here.
Looks like he's putting himself in those positions, like Jace players that kind of try to stay off to the Fog of War until they need to, so you don't see that Shock Blast for the initial hit coming. You always start to tack on a lot of damage. Nobody's getting that damage back anytime soon, unless they have a ton of potions.
Italy can heal him a little bit.
A little bit. Good call. Good call. You usually don't have that coming from the jungle.
It's going to run him out of mana, though, and he's not going to be getting these blue buffs.
Yeah.
They're going to go over to Incarnation. But look at that. Enemies sneak in to the Dragon, trying to secure their third, because that's their way into this game. They want these fights. Here comes TP from this side for balls.
Ooh, a very slow tree from the bot lane coming in. Can't get the jungler inside. That's definitely going to be Trashy's. Eyes on body drop. He may go down here. Otter's on the back line. Lemonation gets crushed by the hammer into the skies. He gets dunked down. Enemy dropping members right now of Cloud9. I don't think they can continue to finalize any of these kills here, but very good fight there. Only losing body drop on his initiation. Oh, duck! Woo! Sneaky almost picking up a kill with the boomerang blade there. Flashes in for the kill.
Oh, man. Sneaky's still coming around the corner, though. Sneaky wants more of this.
He's trying to be sneaky. Oh. That was kind of like I'm kind of scared blade. He was leaning backwards as he threw it. He didn't want to go too far. Meteos on the other side of the map. Setting up vision, doing something. Thought he was setting down bushwhacks, but it looks like he's just there for the tour. He's going to start heading out.
Yeah, enemy, good team fight from them. They end up with a 2-for-1 trade, the third dragon of the game for them. So the fifth dragon is a very real possibility for them, and it would be online just about the 31-minute mark.
Thinking about what Meteos just did. I'll put that on hold here. We have the dragon fight.
Yeah, you can see they're looking for the right ultimates here. Incarnation in the back line. He's trying to hit them over the wall. Trashy as well. Incarnation jumps in for the play. And look at that. Immediately into the back line, going for the hero play, but just immediately focused down. A good equalizer at the start to divide, but then it got Incarnation in a position where he was frustrated with where he was on the map. Because you want to be further up, you want to be able to adjust your soldiers, and then he just goes for the deep dive.
And you dive in right when Jinx changes to rockets and starts AoEing everybody in the face.
Yeah, and pushing everybody forward into your team didn't seem to help that much.
Yeah. Oh. Bit of a mix-up there as NME puts their foot down. Cloud9 can't come up with the strategy they want around the dragon. Just saw Meteos inside the jungle there on his tour. Put a ward down. If they can start denying blue here from Inox, that poke's definitely going to lessen, but this is going to be very hard. It just dies out before it hit the blue buff. Unfortunate. And I think it would have been a little off on the damage.
Unlucky.
Unlucky indeed. Unlucky. That would have been a very big stop for them to get, at least at this point in the game. He is sitting now at 584 of the 740 tier. Well, can't say it. 750 tier stack. Easy words. It's English, don't worry.
I want to see what he does with this phage, too, because that could be a Black Cleaver, and then the fact that he has the W, the hypercharge, very, very quick application of it to get through the armor of balls and allow Otter to do even more damage. So supplementing his 80 carries damage, who's been having some good performances and standout performances recently.
Righteous Glory finished onto balls. If they do want to try to go for a hard engage, might be difficult. You have an Annie, Sejuani that could hit it. More so that they can get back on the counter engage here. What are you looking for from Cloud9 right now, Zyrene? If they were to be able to get a fight, where would they be able to get
It's all about softening it up, playing around choke points with Azir, but you don't want to play around choke points against a Rumble. So playing to your strengths kind of plays to the enemy's strengths. You really just have to poke with Meteos, hope he lands more spears before the fight starts, because they really haven't prioritized magic resist just yet. They don't have tanks.
Ooh.
The balls, he's getting melted already. They're trying to stun him up. Oh, gets away from the choppers.
Very much a situation of look before you leap. That time Balls had light on the other side from Elimination with the Dark Passage, but Enemy is definitely leaping right now all over the map, and they don't have to look. They have full control. Looks like they could get an inhibitor here. Look at where Cloud9's positioning. Sneaky just back.
Yeah.
You are going to have Incarnation coming in from the top. I don't know if it's going to do much, though.
Are we looking for a 5-man fight here? Incarnation on the
That
flank.
divide into the base.
There he goes.
And he hits 3 back. Meteos just sitting on the equalizer right now. He gets out. A hook going on to the Tibbers. An unfortunate hit for the death sentence. Incarnation with the blue buff across the wall with some soldiers and the move, but it's not going to provide too much. They stave off the attack on the inhibitor, but they lose the turret.
Yeah, they lost the turret for it. And Cloud9, right now, it feels like they're hyper-focused on shoving out waves before it engages. It's great to shove out waves, right? Like, that's something that you should be doing. But when your team needs you, it's one of those time-sensitive things where you have to, even as a jungler, you struggle with, do I gank now, or do I kill this wolf camp? It's like no. The gank is more important. At this point, it's more important to be in attendance in the top lane turret when there's a Jinx pushing it than shoving the bot wave one more wave, because it didn't even do anything to the turret.
That's the jungler I yell at. It's like, I'll be there after red, golems, wraiths, wolves. I'll be there. Don't worry about it.
I'll be there eventually. You know, it's like,
But you were pushed up when I came down, so I went back.
the jungler,
all the time.
shows
We
up
all know.
when he wants to.
We all know. So let's see. Enemy actually feeling pretty confident here. Or at least they want to get the fights in their favor. Elixir's starting to be bought up by Flares. Good bit of safety here. Righteous Glory thwarted by the hammer change, giving Inox a little bit of movement speed there to get himself to safety. But the team was also ready. You can see both teams now hovering, powers and numbers, almost hip to hip. If you're not the AD carry in the bot lane, Otter, or Flares in the top.
There's a lot of threat on this Baron, lots of pink wards around it, C9 trying to bait it, and also they know Otter isn't here, so if they get a fight, it's a numbers advantage.
So he flashes in this time. That was the Righteous Glory still being down from the last engage, but you can see how much Cloud9 want it. The welcoming carpet coming in over from Flares, but it looks like they want this fight, and they walk on through, say, where's the food? They take down Body Drop.
But they're going to lose the bot lane tier 2, and they're going to lose the middle turret, so they lost 2 turrets. This gets C9 a little bit behind in gold from NME. NME just caught up off those turret takes.
It looks like they may be able to save mid with a fast move there, but you're right. It's something they definitely had to think about as an afterthought. It's not something they thought Enemy was going to get the upper hand on just because of a kill. Dragon number 4, Zyrene.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like there's anything in place here. Trashy's there, smite up, and Nidalee not too close.
Well, they don't have...
They can get there, though.
They don't have Flares with an ultimate just yet.
Oh, they didn't start it. I figured they could have burned it down.
Yeah, and Body Drop isn't there. He's not even close. He's getting there slowly. They want to poke and soften up ahead of time. It's going to be difficult.
This would be really big as well, staving off aspect of the dragon.
Here comes the
All
TP.
5 of them almost went to Enemy instantly. TP to the bot lane, not much of a waste. They can continue to work this as well, since dragon number 4 means quite a bit for them. We already see that the Muramana has been finished up by Inox, so being on the outside here is almost perfect for Enemy. That was really close.
Oh,
nice
man.
try by Sneaky to take that with the boomerang.
Yeah, Sneaky, no ultimate, no way to really help them engage the fight. And Incarnation, he's not at those power points in terms of items where he would like to fight. And if you look at Inox, Muramana, Manamune, online, ready to go. The Muramana is going to chunk people out if they even get close at this point. So he's in his mid-game power spike. He still has room to grow, too. Could still purchase the Last Whisper. His boots for CDR.
We talked about this point a little bit as well. It's kind of triggering with Flares. Now he's got the Leandries finished along with that Sorcerer's Elixir and his pen boots. These guys could really come out big. We just saw that Flares use that TP to a minion line in the bot, so we'll have to wait a little bit to get that back. And I wonder if Cloud9 can use a TP to their advantage here. There's 6 minutes on the clock now for that 5th dragon. Cloud9 are going to be forced into something they do not want quite soon.
Yeah, and like you said, Leandri's Torment completed on Flares. Sorcery Elixir in his inventory. He's ready for a fight now. He wants that extra spike.
Yeah.
This signals to me, with all these pink wards too, that they're looking to set up either a Baron, some type of choke point with their ultimates, and to fight Cloud9 and try to win the game off of that. get big objectives, or go top, force that. There's a lot of options here if you're NME, especially with 5th Dragon very close. Because here's the thing as well, if you mess up one of the fights, you still have a 5th Dragon on the table. Even if you get cleaned ace after this, you still have a way back in the game if you're NME.
Cloud9 is really focusing on that vision game right now. Upgraded trinkets everywhere, giving them the idea that they can fight. That equalizer is absolutely beautiful. 3 down for Cloud9 already. They cannot get this fight under control. Now onto balls. It's going to be Incarnation once again at full HP, getting himself out of the fight alone as the team falls down around him.
That was so beautifully played by Flares. Pressure on him, but the #1 ranked solo queue player knows pressure all the time. He just throws down the ultimate in a prime spot, hits the backline, everybody collapses on it from the overcommit. They're gonna get top inhibitor off of this as well.
That was a ridiculous play for NME to just pull the trigger. Everybody was on board from the get-go, and you could see the confusion it put Cloud9 in. We'll definitely get a replay of that fight, and what a fight from NME. You don't get that kind of fight every day. They've been setting up that for a while. And like I said, C9 was getting wards everywhere. I'm surprised that NME was actually able to get that engage.
Well, it was actually C9 that started the engage.
Very true.
They were like, Righteous Glory, let's go. We have to start this. Balls doesn't even have rank 2 boots yet, so he's very predictable in getting into these fights. So pops Righteous Glory, rushes in with Sivir ulti, tries to get to the back line, but look at this. Picks, not going to happen here.
Not at all.
What does C9 do in this desperate position? Meteos has been trying to work on his shot calling from behind. Do they go for the Baron now? Ultimates are down from NME, but Flares is about to have his back up now. Trashy, his is up in a couple seconds as well. They are in full fight mode again from NME's side. And this time, body drop, he's about to have his Tibbers, and his flash is up now.
Dodging out spears. NME has the wards they need as well to stay away from the poke. And straight up the middle, says NME. See what they can get onto this. There's a ping in the bot lane. Good wave coming in for C9 that might have to be a little bit of cleanup here.
The funny thing about all this, after everything is all said and done, 6 turrets to 3 in favor of NME, 2-0-4 on Flares to Balls, 1-1-1, and he's still behind Balls in gold by 200 gold. Flares' impact with very little gold on Rumble, because of the placement of his ultimates and the way he's playing these fights, is just making all the difference here.
NME playing the waiting game very well this time. Very well. Flares we saw running around at level 5 for quite a bit, not being able to have that ultimate. The team knew their power curve would be coming up soon.
He's still not even CSing in this game. He's 111 CS at almost 30 minutes. He's running around on Rumble, giving
Makes me feel good about myself.
He's giving, well, he feels good about himself too, because he's giving his farm away to the mid laner, the AD carry, and making sure that they are powerful. You can see full CDR now from Inox, the 4.8 second cooldown on his Shock Blast. He's ready to start poking people down before these fights. Super minions have to be dealt with. 5th Dragon on the table in a minute and a half. NME just has so many cards, they're basically holding the deck.
Oh boy. Close. No cigar. Flies off the map. They deal with Shurima's legacy there of Incarnation in the mid lane, taking down another one. Dragon in 1 minute coming up here. This is going to have to be stopped by Cloud9, or at least contested.
I touched on this a little bit with Jinx taking turrets very quickly, but NME's comp, after they beat you in team fight, they are going to take objectives so quickly.
That. Hyper shot and everything.
Exactly. Hypercharge on top of the Jinx. That is some turret taking power. They can even just force their way up to a turret, start autoing it, and force you to fight them. This is a good composition from NME, especially when they had problems with drafts a couple weeks ago. It's good to see this from them.
It's got a little bit of everything, too, because you see Cloud9 is so afraid to approach turrets because body drop could just jump on their face. They're going to get hit from Inox's poke while they're trying to take down the turret. It makes it very difficult.
It's also got a dyssynergy in it, because Maokai wants to go in. You're seeing Balls try to start these fights, and Meteos is saying, no. Let me throw about 3 or 4 spears before the fight while we avoid Shock Blasts. Then we can start the fight if they still want to fight us after being taken low. But that's not happening. As a Nidalee jungle, when you play that, you always are like, no. It's opposite from other junglers. I don't want to engage. I want to stay at a distance before we engage. They're going to start losing turrets, though. Not this wave, in a couple of waves, though.
Like I said,
No pressure on
One
enemy.
super
They don't have
minion
pressure.
on double turret shots is able to take a third of your health away. 2 super minions are going to be able to do 2/3. You are now sitting at a Nexus turret that is about to fall as soon as
Fifth
enemy
dragon.
touches it.
5th dragon
And
right
aspect
there.
of the dragon. You're going to be forced into a Baron you don't want to if this doesn't work, but they have every wave crashing into Cloud9 right now.
Cloud9 not going for pretty much
Oh, boy.
any option.
Okay.
You have options to engage to at least try to fight them, but now your options just got worse. Fighting a team fight comp that can take your turrets very quickly, can
Yeah.
poke you very hard, while you have super minions in your top wave and they're pressuring this bottom wave. This just doesn't seem like a win solution.
Oh, that turret!
Win situation at all for C9.
Goes down alone. Sad, sad thing for that Nexus turret. Sneaky's going to try to recoup and get these last bit of minions cleared out so they could maybe put some pressure onto the side of enemy. Good dodges. And the aspect of the dragon making them look all shiny. Oh! So close. See, this is the point where Meteos gets to throw all the
I
spirits
feel like this
he
is
wants,
the wave
but
that
they're
they
ready.
go. There they go.
That's going to be an incarnation.
Oh,
Bombs the whole
they're
team
stuck.
back. That didn't hit Otter, though. He's got free farm of the feet shots on the backside. Cannot take down Balls just yet. Throws off the rocket, and it doesn't hit anybody. And in a bit of miscommunication there, Balls goes down as well as Flares, and nobody really wants to take the rest of the fight with that happening. Cloud9 was able to defend that without all their members.
And they got these respawn on the top inhibitor, so they actually stave that off. The dragon buff is already half gone, and by the time Flares is up,
Right.
it'll be very close to being over. So only about 1 or 2 more pushes or waves after they all regroup from backing that they're actually going to have this 5th dragon buff. So Incarnation, he's been making flashy plays all game. That's the one that pays off for him.
Yeah.
Immediately protects his back line, shoves everybody into the corner except for Otter. 4-mana Zero ulti. If that was paired with something that would do a lot of AoE damage in that corner, that would have been a one-team fight for C9. Ends up being even, though.
You see that follow-up isn't there. They have, what, at most a Boomerang Blade to pass through everybody on the team, right?
Yep.
A Maokai Vengeful Maelstrom to get popped at the end after it mitigates damage. Very hard for them to take the full 5v5 fights here for sure.
Back to shove at the top, though, and set the Baron.
Have to start putting a little bit of pressure on the enemy. Let them know that they will not be walked all over, but enemy looks actually no care to that aspect. And they are still just trudging forward now. It looks like it's going to be this inhibitor going down. Like you said, it's going to be fast once they get there. Shots over to Sneaky, the Hypercharge, and Jinx absolutely eating up the inhibitor here. 34 minutes in, a 2.5 thousand gold lead, as all enemy needs to keep this control over Cloud9 here.
Once again, enemy have so many options right now.
And they're denying resources everywhere, too. Shutting off the options of Cloud9.
Cloud9, though, the fact that you need a 4-man, a Zero ultimate into a corner to even come out even on a fight just shows you, despite the gold being 3k difference right now, enemy have so many more advantages than just the You have to have the intangible show at this point. You have to have the plays and the shot calling from C9 if they want to get back into this. And speaking of plays...
Oh, no! Incarnation feels safety under his own turret, but a false sense of security gets him down. The red carpet is laid out, and Balls will be the next one to get charred down. It is going to be enemy running up the mid lane now. The waves aren't where they would really want them to be as it was earlier, but they will have enough here to drop this next turret. Start giving C9 one hell of a game. 35 minutes in. Great job by enemy so far.
Yeah, they're just chunking these down. 35 minutes. This is the point in the game where people start getting a cannon minion every wave, but this is where enemy already wants to end the game.
Yeah.
10 seconds on Incarnation.
That's the ultimate from Sneaky. Elimination doing what he can. It's going to be Meteos trying to fly to the backside. He says, follow me this way. But enemy is going to be the next team to take down Cloud9 and bring themselves to 3 and 4 on the summer split. Enemy takes down Cloud9.
That was a great performance from everybody across the board on NME.
Really was.
Otter, 100% kill participation in that game is Jinx. Flares, 128 CS in 36 minutes. Terrible CS score, but his contribution to this game was huge. His equalizers on point, the way he was setting them up and setting up Trashy. This looks like a little bit of their challenger mojo and their team fight
That's
coming
what they were
back.
looking for. That's what Body Drop was talking about in the beginning of these videos. and it looks like the team's able to get a little bit of that energy back here. And you know what? They look super happy about that win. Sometimes you see a team come off and, you know, they're kind of like, yeah, that was good. I'm really glad we won, but things to work on. Well, there's things to work on there. They very fantastically played it.
And once again, Inox on a poke champion, 20,000 damage, but flares, 18.5 thousand damage on a Rumble, no poke, all engaged, very little gold on him. He is doing more with less. And you can see NME ecstatic about that win, putting themselves at 3 and 4, and that puts Cloud9 at 2 and 5.
Yeah. Cloud9 came into this game as well in Champion Select thinking, you know, we hit the top lane with a flex of Echo, and then we won't have to worry about too much about that top lane because I'll figure I can play against a Rumble, right? That's my champion. Well, that wasn't the one to really lose it. That Rumble still made a big impact coming in for NME, even as much as they shut it down, like you were saying.
Yeah, and you can see Incarnation on your screen. He was making plays at the end there all throughout the game, but the team comp wasn't designed to have that type of engage be the start-off point with the Nidalee. They needed to soften people up, get to that point where they could make those plays or the threat of that play. 4-man ulti, really great plays there, really well executed.
Yes.
Really well executed from Incarnation. But that last pick there at the end, caught out of position, body drop a guy who was getting picked off himself a couple times in his last few games, finally picking somebody else off with that Annie.
Yeah, got himself killed in the situation, but sometimes you just have to do that. You got to be the guy that goes in hard. It was what started them before the Worth. In the pause in the beginning when he flashed in, just as a reference point, not about the pause. And then again, it was him all the time, every time they had flash. And you look at Cloud9's composition coming out of this: Maokai, Nidalee, Azir, Sivir, and Thresh. And you, like you said, you get that huge 4-man ultimate. There was no follow-up. Even with a turret, the inhibitor turret, ripping someone's armor and MR to shreds, you still can't do anything.
Yeah, the fact that the Rumble was taken first pick, like this composition, if they were able to execute those plays with a Rumble on their side and a tank jungler, would have been a completely different game.
It always is.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. For the pros' perspective on that game, we got Freak standing by on the blue side.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm here with Otter. Dude, congrats on a very impressive win. You took down Cloud9. Coming into the split, would you think that was even possible for you guys?
Honestly, with hard work, I thought it would have been, but no. I didn't think we would be able to, but I'm really happy right now.
Well, that's good to hear. I mean, coming into the split, I think not a lot of people knew how to rate you guys. We've seen challenger teams show up really well at the start. We've seen challenger teams have really sort of bad starts. Right now, you guys are in 6th place. How does this compare to what your thoughts on how the team would stack up?
I think this is where I thought we would be, like right about now, because we didn't have too much practice going into it, so I was really nervous. Going into it, but I think by the end of the split, I actually think we could maybe even get 4th or 3rd.
Wow, so top 3, top 4 for you guys. I mean, you guys are facing Team Impulse tomorrow. They were the 4th place finisher last split. You're in a tie 4-6 with them right now. How do you feel about this match coming up?
I'm really confident. I think we can take it to them.
Does the rest of your team feel the same way about it?
Yeah, they do. We all feel the same. Oh, we all feel the same.
Well, that's good to hear. So you guys feeling good about Team Impulse. What's going to happen then in the second half of the split then for you guys? You said you didn't have a lot of practice coming into it, bit of a slow start. You said top 3. Like, who's your biggest competition then in stopping you from getting to playoffs?
Our biggest competition would probably be the top teams, obviously CLG, TSM, and Team Liquid. I think those 3 are the best. And Gravity. Gravity's looking really good as well. So yeah, those teams.
No respect for Dignitas?
Oh yeah, they're doing really. Yeah, I guess Dignitas too.
All right, that's cool. So then, one final question for you then. What's sort of the camaraderie like for this team now? You guys 3 and 4, pretty good record so far. Came up from Challenger kind of as a new team, and it just seems like it's all going uphill for you guys. What's it like, back at home, practicing day to day?
Actually, when everyone got back into the house, it was really good. Like, everyone was really happy to be back, and we were all playing really hard. But we ran into some problems, in-game problems that were fixed months ago, and we kind of just had to revisit a lot of the problems that we were having, which kind of grinded on everyone. So everyone was getting a little upset the past couple weeks. And on top of that, it's the place that we're living in. It's so hot and it's so uncomfortable. So it just adds to it. And so actually going into this match, we were a bit antsy and a bit nervous because of how upset we've been. But I'm glad we were able to pull out the win.
Yeah, it was an impressive win, guys. Congratulations. Thank you very much for the interview. And we're now going to send it over to Dash and the guys at the desk.
Thank you, Freak. You know, we talked about this game during the pause. We had the opportunity to kind of set up what the teams needed to do in order to come out with the win. NME there executing fairly well on, their team comps win conditions.
Yeah, I mean, their team fight, they played it out perfectly. Cloud9 weren't able to interrupt the combo at all. What was really surprising to me was NME's strong map movements. Whenever we look at new teams in the LCS, that's one of the things that's usually lacking. However, they got to all the objectives before Cloud9 did. And Cloud9 even had, sometimes 15, 20 seconds to set up for these. But NME got there faster. They used the Jace speed. They were even able to out-rotate a Sivir team. So that was very impressive for me.
Well, that was kind of a cool thing there. The Jace was battling the Sivir's move speed. Everyone's like, oh, just group with the Sivir comp. Well, they grouped with the Jace comp in this one. And even when the Sivir was trying to engage, they would counter that so well. The big game-changing teamfight to me was actually when they all funneled in with Sivir into an equalizer that was on a Glacial Prison. And that was the game pretty much.
That's going to change the game right there.
Yeah, we also had the coin come out for both supports, but speed to counter speed, essentially keeping themselves safe, only engaging when they wanted to. So yeah, it is nice to see NME, kind of getting back to what they consider to be the cohesion that they did have in the challenger scene, where they can really dominate the map movement. On the side of Cloud9, we're coming into this game saying we're waiting for that game. We're waiting for that game where they're really going to show us that they're on the path to improvement. They just still seem so out of sorts with their map movement, even with their engagements. We saw that beautiful Azir play by Incarnation, but there was no prep for it. Everybody was at full health when that fight started.
It almost reminded me like when I was trying to practice insecting someone with Lee Sin, because you can pull off the combo, then the first game you play, you just try and do it every single time.
Yeah.
Incarnation needed to prep his Azir plays, and the team needed to be ready to follow up. Poke, 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 then go. But what seemed to happen is the instant Incarnation entered the fight as Azir, he would try and pull off the Shurima Shuffle, which is, Q, Eing in, and then knocking them back. And there was no follow-up, and they weren't even low when he started. So it was effectively useless in most
Then run away.
Yeah, and then run really fast.
Right, maybe be a distraction, have them follow you out of the base. So yeah, still unfortunate, miscommunication there from Cloud9 that we're seeing. But, good on NME for picking up the win. It will set up a very interesting matchup tomorrow against Impulse, as those teams are now sharing 6th place. With that win, we do have NME Esports in 6th place, but let's see how the rest of the league is arranged. Alone in 1st place, we have Counter Logic Gaming. Now, one game back in 2nd place, we've got Gravity, Dignitas, Team Liquid, and TSM. In 6th is NME and Team Impulse, followed by Cloud9, Team 8, and TDK. Let's take a peek at what's on tap for tomorrow, starting with Team 8 versus Team Dragon Knights. After that, Gravity will challenge Team Solo Mid. Then we'll close out Week 4 with Team Liquid versus Team Dignitas. That will hit your browsers at noon Pacific Daylight, 9 p.m. Central European Summertime. Now for myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Week 4 of the North American LCS with Team Dignitas sitting at 4-2. Goes for impact. Big stun's gonna land. The Baron already dies. Oh! Rushka stole it. Deal with Flash. Here comes the fight. Maybe this is the battle that Impulse needed. Team Dignitas in sole control of 3rd place.
Let's not underestimate our opponents, guys. They're looking for vengeance.
Baron kill for CLG. A couple kills picked up as well. Seraph, they're in the middle of the lineup, getting chunked out by Zion Spartan. CLG 6-1.
I heard you're famous troll in China.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I heard you're famous troll in China.
No way.
I talked to Uzi I and he said you're troll.
Shut up. I carry him.
2 Wild Turtle. Santorin barely slinks away, but Phoenix is in the mix. But here comes Bjergsen, the savior of TSM. Finds one Phoenix at the front lines, but look at the damage coming out.
It's only Cardi.
He's done.
And would you believe it? From behind, Team Solo Mid will actually knock down Team Liquid.
Bloop. Juke. Wait, he went back to base.
Yeah, that.
What the?
Whoops. Hanser's back in base. Hanser f***ed up.
They get inside the head of Team 8 and they take it down. That equalizer is absolutely beautiful. 3 down for Cloud9 already. bring themselves to 3-4. Enemy takes down Cloud9.